Hello people of Gravesend. My name's Pete. I'm sure a lot of you have known me for a lot of years. I've always got on very well with the people in Gravesend, and it's a nice town. Unfortunately, I have to notify you of what me and my wife and child have been put through over the last 2 years by social services. Severe abuse. First, social services accused me of manipulating my wife's blood pressure tablets when she was pregnant. I did no such thing. A consultant increased her blood pressure tablets because on one visit to the consultant her blood pressure was high. But this was because she was taking 2 buses to get there and she didn't travel well. I monitored her blood pressure for a whole week and then took her back to the GP because everything was back to normal again, and the GP made 3 checks of her blood pressure and reduced the medication back down to its normal level. Yet social services insisted that I'd tampered with the blood pressure tablets and started the ball rolling for a court case. The second accusation that they made was that I abused my wife in the home. My wife is my life, and I love her with all my heart. Nothing's too good for my wife, and I certainly would not abuse my wife in the home, so you can imagine how I felt about this. The reason they made the accusation was because my wife is a quiet person. So they said, well, my wife's a quiet person outside the home. She speaks if she has to speak, if she's got something to say. She had minimum contact with these people, and yet they went ahead and made this accusation. So it was obvious that they made this accusation to help with the process of going to court. So, the baby was born, and my family didn't come home. My wife and child was made to stay in a house in Chatham, prisoners, for over 8 months. I had to live alone. We had to go to a contact centre where it's like being a caged animal. We would sit there with our baby and love our baby, and there would be a social worker sitting there in a chair writing every single word we said down and every single motion. For over 8 months they did that to us 3 times a week, where no one committed an offence at all. No one committed no crimes. My wife wasn't allowed to leave the house with the baby in Chatham, no matter what, so she was a constant prisoner in a room. I was alone in our house, so I wasn't with my family, so I was a prisoner as well. In the court, in the waiting room, one of the social workers has decided that he wanted to take the child, our baby, away from my wife. All she ever done all her life was work hard. She had a full-time job and everything, working hard and all these things, and was a wonderful person, never done nothing wrong her whole life. And yet these people will attempt to take our baby away from her. She was crying in that waiting room, thinking her baby was going to be taken from her. I was in a meeting with 2 social workers where they were turning around to me and saying to me that I might, if the baby was adopted, be able to write to my child twice a year. There's all sorts of things that have gone on. In the contact centre, my wife one day was doing the dinner for the baby in the kitchen. I was pushing the baby around in one of these little cars. There was a social worker there monitoring us, and I said, "Oh, would you like to hear a poem?" While my wife's doing the dinner. and I'm pushing the baby around? She said yes. So I told her a Michael Jackson poem. It was a very good poem. I've written a lot of poems. The next thing I know later on, there's an accusation from the social worker saying that I came on to her when I did no such thing. All I did was tell her a Michael Jackson poem. That was all. There was lots of other things that they put into this as well. The thing is, I never said, would you like a cup of tea? Would you like to go out, or nothing? And yet they made this accusation against me. They even had someone sneak round, another social worker, sneak round to where my wife was staying later on and tell her about this. Which was a terrible thing, because it never happened and they withdrawed it. There's been all sorts of things going on. The situation reached a level where we were going back and forwards to the court. And in one day, luckily, a fantastic judge turned around to social services and said, right, that's it, I've had enough of this, right, do something about this, right? And what they had to do is they put us all through loads of different tests so that my family could return home. So what happened then is we went through all these tests and visits and all sorts of different things and jumping through hoops and stuff, right? We passed all the tests and then my family returned home after a year of them being away. Then we went back to court again and the court made a supervision order for 1 year. So we've had social services on our back for a year, an extra year on top. The situation is that on the 15th of February, it all should come to an end and they should go away and leave us alone and allow us to live our life. They have no reason in the first place to do what they did to us because no one's committed a crime of any kind. I've never given in. I had to rebuild this house, and I've rebuilt it again since then. What you see behind me is the latest work that I've done to the home. I've redecorated the whole house again. We've done everything we can for our child. These people have got no reason at all to try to interfere in our lives anymore. But I can assure you they will probably try to. I'm pretty certain from feedback and other things that they have tried to discredit myself. One or two people have said things, and of course people's behaviour, non-verbal clues and so on and so forth, and things that social services have said to me as well would indicate that they may well try to still be involved in our lives when it's not necessary, when they never was. We want them out of our lives. There's a lot more we could say about social services, a hell of a lot more. Like, we're talking book regarding these people. But this video is part one. Well, I'd like to say I'm not asking anything of anybody at all. Basically, I just want you to all know that nobody did anything wrong at all. And everything that has ever been said about social services is totally true and more. So we'll have to watch this space and see what happens. But if anybody has been influenced in any way by rumours, Chinese whispers, whatever, now you know the truth. I mean, at the end of the day, like, what are you supposed to do? Somebody spreads a rumour, like, all I can say really is if you have a question, ask. Thank you for listening. I love my family.